Hello, I'm live. This is Nancy Harkness, in case you're confused. Probably pretty clear who I am. Since it's my Facebook page that you're on, this is my weekly live. I'm just going to talk for a little bit until I get at least one viewer. And it's just 2 o'clock, so I'm very prompt. Trying an experiment today where I have my iPhone, above my tablet to record this because when I download the Facebook Live for my YouTube channel, the quality degrades tremendously. So it's just an experiment. We'll see if it works. May not. But you should see my jury rigged stand for the tablet with the phone on top of it. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, so this is Writer Unedited, number 12. Number 12. Wow, been doing this 12 weeks in a row. Pretty impressive. I have a comment. It says there's a comment, but I'm not seeing the comment, so I'm going to write my own because Cindy. Hi, Cindy. So good to see you. And there's someone else here. It says there are 2 viewers. If you're here, please write a comment so I know who you are because it doesn't tell me who's here unless you write a comment. So this is just me chatting away at my writing desk. No fancy background except for my book. No, other way. My book. I hate this backward stuff. The mirroring. There's my book with some fake tulips because I read somewhere that you're always supposed to have your book and a green plant in the background when you're doing a video. So there it is. 4 viewers. Come on, guys. I need comments. Comment, please. I keep putting comments in myself to try and get, there they come. Sharon. Hi, Sharon. So good to see you. Who else is here? Come on, guys. Comment. Somebody's posting. Yay. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I'll say hi. So good to see you, Cindy and Sharon, and whoever the other people are who are here. So this is the Consultants Month. I've been talking about my consultant series because they are currently on sale on Kindle for $2.49 for the month. This is something my publisher does. I have nothing to do with it. They make the decision when, they make the decision how much. They do at least tell me that it's happening, so that's a good thing. So The Money Man, which is book 1, The Hacker, book 2, and The Agent, book 3 in the series. And The Agent is the book I'm going to talk about today because I talked about The Money Man and The Hacker earlier. So this is the book with Natalie, who owns a hair salon, and Tully Gibson, who's an ex-FBI agent who has gone to work is one of the partners actually at KRG Consulting, one of the founding partners, doing, in charge of security. That's part of what KRG does for people. So this is because he's, an FBI agent, this is kind of an action-packed book for me. And one of the things I had a lot of fun with Tully is, so he comes from rural Pennsylvania, very poor, but he kind of affects a cowboy facade. He wears cowboy boots, which he insists on putting on the conference table, which makes his partners really mad. But I decided, since he was a cowboy and because I love horses, that somewhere in this book he was going to ride a horse. And he does. And I had so much fun writing that scene because it's an action scene. And, we're in modern day New Jersey, and he's on a horse. And that was just such a blast. I had so much fun with that. So check out Tully's horseback scene in The Agent, $2.49 on Kindle. And so the other thing, just to remind everyone, I am giving away these beautiful coasters that I had made. There's Tully's, Leland's, and that's Leland. There's Derek. I had these and they've got cork backing. They're actually really nice. I have a set in my own house. And I'm going to be giving coasters away to 3 lucky winners. Just type in coaster in the comments and you'll be entered in the giveaway for the 3 coasters. That's all you have to do. And they're really nice, seriously. Um, okay, so back to the agent. So the other thing I had a great time with for Tully was his house. If you've read the book, you know that he has a mansion in Manhattan because he grew up poor in Pennsylvania. So once he had a lot of money, he decided he wanted a house in Manhattan. Only, of course, Tully, being Tully, I mean, because he's into security, I decided, well, to be honest, it was more serendipity than that. I was having lunch with a friend in Manhattan, and she lived on the Upper West Side. And after lunch, we decided to take a stroll around her neighborhood. And as we were strolling, we came upon this incredible house. Can you see it? And it was for sale at the time. So it's a private home, believe it or not. It was for sale, and I was fascinated by this. So I looked it up. It is the only freestanding private residence in Manhattan. Um, and I decided that that had to be Tully's house because he would want a freestanding house just for security reasons, right? No one sharing a wall. Um, so I wanted to read you a little bit of the history of this mansion, which is actually called the Shinazi Mansion. It's located at 351 Riverside Drive. It's the last remaining detached single family home in Manhattan used as a residence. There are other detached single family homes in Manhattan, but they're generally museums or they're part of institutions. So this is still a residence. Built in 1907, the 12,000 square foot neo-French Renaissance, whew, that's a mouthful, style structure was designed by William Tuthill, the architect who designed Carnegie Hall. Do you see a resemblance to Carnegie Hall? Maybe a little bit of one? Right? I'm trying to show it to my phone too. Um, it was commissioned by the Turkish tobacco baron Morris Shinazi, who lived there until his death in 1928. So it was built in 1907. He lived there until 1928. Morris Shinazi has an interesting background. As an Ottoman Jewish immigrant, he arrived in the United States in 1890, bringing nothing more with him than a cigarette rolling machine, rivaling the hand-rolled method of the day. When his brother Solomon joined him in New York, they established the Shinazi Brothers Company, featuring what they advertised as Egyptian prettiest cigarettes rolled with Turkish tobacco. Their company, with its factory on 120th Street and Broadway, was a huge success. So he was a tobacco baron, basically. Well, I guess a cigarette baron, really. The mansion was updated in 1929, retaining almost all of its historic detail, including a trap door leading to a 20-foot-long tunnel in the basement that once extended to the Hudson River. Sorry, in the basement that once extended to the Hudson River. The tunnel, it was during Prohibition, and they needed their booze. So I gather the tunnel has been filled in since then. It's no longer there. I think the trap door you can still see. One of the well-known hand-carved pieces of decor within the home is the pineapple, a symbol of hospitality. It is repeated throughout all of the carvings. You might remember the mansion as the TV home of June on the series White Collar. Did you guys watch White Collar with Neil and Peter? I loved that show. It was so much fun. Anyway, Neil lived there's an apartment, sort of a self-contained apartment on the 4th floor of the Shinazi Mansion, and that's where Neil lived. Isn't that fun? I love that little touch because I thought that was a fun show. This corner lot mansion boasts 12 bedrooms and 11 baths, and I think I saw somewhere it has like 5 kitchens or something. Probably because, so there's the apartment on the 4th floor, and then there's, for gosh sake, and then there's an apartment down in the basement, self-contained, and then I don't know what all the extra kitchens are for, to be honest. Except it's very big. It's a 12,000 square foot mansion, so maybe they just dotted them around the house so you could always get food. I kind of like that concept. The mansion, which overlooks the Hudson River, has changed hands several times since Shinazi's death, including its time as a finishing school for girls. Sitting empty for several years and in great need of work, it last sold in January 2013 for around $14 million. So that's a lot of money, but I'm thinking, well, they had to do a lot of work because actually when I saw it, it was being worked on. But gosh, think of what the property taxes must be on something that's 12,000 square feet in Manhattan. Nuts. So the good news is that it was designated a New York City landmark in 1974, noted as a fine example of the, another mouthful, Neo-French Renaissance style. And it was added to the National Register of Historic Places on April 23rd, 1980. So the good news is nobody can tear it down. It has to sort of stay the way it is because it's a national landmark, which makes me totally happy. I don't know if Tully paid $14 million for it, but I wanted to show you that there are some interior photos. If you go online or even just look on my Pinterest board, if you go to the to my website and look on the book page for the agent, there's a Pinterest board. You know, you can click on that. It'll take you to the Pinterest board, and there are a lot of photos of the house. You can also look it up on just Google it, and you'll see the Shinazi Mansion. It's very cool. But I wanted to show you one more picture because anybody who's read the book, I can't get this centered, may remember there's a pretty hot scene that involves the grand piano, which is in the house, was in the house when these pictures were taken anyway. That's the entrance hall. You're looking toward the front door, and the steps are in the scene as well. But mostly the grand piano, so I do use real life stuff to inspire my books, of course. All writers do. Okay, so that's my fun facts about The Agent. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Is anybody writing comments? I have 4 people here, but only 2 people have said hello to me. Gail's there. Okay, so Gail says, I'm still thinking of what amount of money had to be put into the rehab of the building. Wow, yeah, right? Incredible. However, evidently the fellow who bought it worked for Goldman Sachs. So he probably had the money. Mary Jane is here. Hi. And Coaster. Yay. Sharon says, holy cow. And great show. Right, Sharon? Wasn't White Collar a fun show? I just really enjoyed it. I thought the cast had great chemistry together. I mean, sometimes it was, the plots could be a little silly, but I watched it for the characters. Of course, that's me. I'm a character-driven writer. I'm a character-driven reader. I'm a character-driven TV watcher. So yeah. And also, Neil was one of the most beautiful human beings. Well, still is. So, gosh, what was the name of the actor who played Neil? I'm going completely blank. Oh. Anyway, he was in the stripper movie, too. Magic Mike? Was that the name of it? I have no recall anymore. So, sorry if I'm blithering, but what is that actor's name? Come on, somebody has to put in a comment for me. Who played Neil on White Collar. Oh well. Okay, so what else is going on? Well, my newsletter will be going out very shortly this month, and there will be a cover reveal for How to Plan a Royal Wedding, the novella that will be given away to all my newsletter subscribers in October. So I really need you to click on something in that newsletter. Doesn't matter what, because I switched newsletter services. I mentioned this last week, and I will mention it again next week. So please click, just so my new service knows that people love me. What else? Louisa's story is still progressing. I think I reported last week that I was about halfway through. I'm still about halfway through. I was traveling over the weekend, so didn't get a lot of writing done then. But I'm back at work, hard at work. One thing I did do when I was traveling, while I was taking a very long train ride home from Virginia, was to work on my brief history of Kaleva, which I'm doing just for fun because one of my critique partners suggested it might be a fun thing to give to you, my readers and my subscribers to my newsletter. So I was making more progress on that, and I can report that the first king of Kaleva was named Ricardo El Rojo, he was a pirate. And you'll find out how he became king of Kaleva. And you find out why everyone in Kaleva speaks English as well as Spanish and French. And what else did I include in that? I had to do some research, and look up. I mean, it's actually fun to do historical research when you don't have to write an entire novel including it, because this is all fictional history, right? But I'm still trying to be accurate, like Would Ricardo El Rojo have sailed a galleon? Yes, he would have at that time. And I'm also planning to include a little piece of history that another one of my critique partners uses in some of her historical romances. Lisa Ann Verge, you should look her up. She writes terrific books. She has a series that is about the King's Girls. And the King's Girls were they were French. It was the French king. I've forgotten which one. It was in the late 1600s, right? I hope I'm getting that right. The late 1600s. I haven't gotten there in my history yet because it's a little later than where I am now. And they recruited young single women to go to Quebec to marry the Frenchmen there, because there weren't enough women in Quebec City. So I've decided that I'm going to include that in, I won't tell you exactly how, in my brief history of Kaleva. But check out Lisa Ann Verge's books. So I looked them up. It's Heaven in His Arms, The Winter Husband, and then there's a Christmas novella called A Husband by Christmas. And they're just wonderful books. If you like historical adventure romance, they're actually, as she says, historical adventure romance, you'll really enjoy them. So highly recommend those. And I think that's it. That's all I got to talk about. Does anybody have any questions for me? I'm not seeing a lot of comments. Did anybody find out the name of the actor? Matt Bomer! Gail, yay, thank you. I know, my mind really is going. Mary Jane, Channing Tatum was in Magic Mike, but he was not in White Collar. It was Matt Bomer, who, as I said, I think is one of the most beautiful men on the face of the earth. Oh my God, those eyes, incredible. Although I have to say, I loved his partner, Peter, because he was actually a little closer to my age at the time. So I think that's why he appealed to me. All right, let's just get rid of that. Any questions, guys? Ask me questions. I love questions. No, not a question. I forgot to remind people that I was doing this. I sometimes get questions in the reminders. Sorry about that, folks. As I said, I was trailing. I get discombobulated. So that's it then. It was so good to have you guys here. So nice to have 4 people. Yay. Appreciate it. And as always, I will be posting this on my YouTube channel, possibly from my phone video if it comes out decently. I'm not sure. We'll see. And thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next week, although I have no idea what I'm going to talk about because there are only 3 books in the consultant series, and I have now talked about all 3 of them. I don't know. I have to see if there's anything I can think of to talk about the whole series. But anyway, it's been fun. Take care, everyone. Love you guys.